So I've been feeling kind of sequestered lately, for lack of a better word. And it's just that I don't like driving in snow or ice. And there's always a possibility of driving on ice, even though there's not much snow up here in the Pacific Northwest, at least where I am in Seattle area. So that has kind of kept me hampered a little bit. Since I don't really want to drive in it, I haven't been exploring much. And it kind of feels like I'm defeating the purpose of being up here in this area, because if I'm not going to drive around, then I'm not seeing much. And so it's kind of put me in a little bit of a bad mood that way. This ain't San Diego. So that's why I keep having this idea that I'm, kind of stuck in one spot. And I don't want to be stuck in one spot. I want to explore. So now that the weather is getting better, I kind of feel like I need to gear up to get outdoors. And I don't need a whole lot to do that because, basically anywhere that I drive, I've got my home with me. I don't really decide on where I'm going to go until Friday evening. I kind of have some ideas of places I want to go to, but I don't really have to decide where I'm going to go until I clock out on Friday and, I make my decision then. But lately, my thoughts during the week are I need to get out of the van a little bit more and explore a little bit farther out of Seattle than I have been. So that has kind of been my focus lately. Getting out of the van, doing some hiking, seeing some new places. So that's what I've done this week. So I've come out, driven about 30 minutes east of Portland. And that is the Columbia River down below us. I was looking to find some waterfalls, and this is an area that has a lot of waterfalls in it, so I'm on my way up. But I just stopped at this little outlook here that gives a really good view of the Columbia River. And like I said, that's Portland that way. And lots of waterfalls in this direction. So even though it's kind of gray and a little bit drizzly today on and off, I think it kind of adds to the feeling of being up here in the Portland area. So I'm enjoying it. I'm driving along, heading up to do a little bit of hiking. And first off, the scenery out here is just gorgeous. See if I can get a little bit of it in the frame here. Yeah, my camera doesn't really do this justice. But then all of a sudden I notice this little post office here out in the middle of nowhere. Isn't this just the cutest little post office? Just thought it was kind of cool. Wish I had some mail to send off. I don't really have any reason to go in there. I don't really need to talk in a place like this, do I? So at this point, after getting to see some waterfalls, getting to hike and getting a nice drive out in the country, I decided to head back into Portland in search of really good food and really good coffee. Okay, so I just came from Push Pull and I ordered a latte, and I got to tell you, this is the best latte I have ever had. It was creamy. The beans weren't over roasted and burnt like I'd been getting so much of in Seattle. Just absolutely perfect. If you are anywhere down in East Portland area, these are the guys to go see. Since Portland's known for food trucks, I decided to search out some, and I found a little spot that has a few different food trucks right on the corner. So I'm heading there now and see what we can find. So Portland is a great city, at least for me. I really had a nice time there, especially when I got out of town and got to see the waterfalls and all that scenery. Just absolutely spectacular. So nice weekend for me. I did have some thoughts about Portland from a van dweller's point of view, though, that I kind of wanted to share. I noticed a lot of van dwellers all around Portland. It seems like van dwellers and car dwellers are a little bit more accepted there for some reason. And I think it's just kind of the relaxed attitude that Portlanders seem to have. It seems like most everybody's really friendly and just really kind of nice. So maybe that has something to do with it. Now, I generally don't like to park downtown in big cities. It seems like big cities, there are more cars than there are parking spaces available. And, Portland's no different. But I did park downtown one of the nights I was there. The other nights I parked out in the suburbs. And it just seemed like nobody really cared at all. And that is something that I'm usually very keen on noticing. Now, you notice that I say when I parked overnight, I'm not using the term stealth camping. And I really kind of wished I had never used the term stealth. And that really should be a whole video on its own, just to explain why I really don't like that term anymore. But I actually don't like the whole term. I don't like the term stealth camping because, first of all, I'm not camping anywhere. This is my house. I've got a bed, I've got a sink, I've got a refrigerator and a kitchen. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not camping. I'm really think I'm past camping at this point. While I enjoy it, I enjoy a certain level of creature comforts anymore. And so, my van's set up pretty well. I don't feel like I'm really in need of anything. So, I'm not camping anywhere. The other thing is the stealth thing. I'm really not stealthy anymore. And so, I don't care where I am. If I'm in, some little hick town, or if I'm in some real kind of highfalutin town, if somebody sees me getting in my van to go to sleep at night, big deal, As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a problem with it. This is my house, so they shouldn't have a problem with it either. And, so far, I haven't had any trouble with it. I've never had a knock on the door. I've never had anybody tell me to get out of their town. it's just been perfectly fine with me. But when I am in kind of the swankier cities and towns, I do notice a different feel from people, because being that I'm not stealthy at all, they know that I'm living out of my van, and the kind of nicer areas, sometimes they kind of look down their nose at me. And I didn't get that at all anywhere I was in Portland, either downtown or out in the suburbs. So I really kind of like that about Portland. I don't think I'd ever really want to live in Portland. I spent, almost a full day just downtown, and boy, it was tough. I spend a lot of time in Seattle here. Even though I don't really live and work downtown Seattle, I do spend a lot of my days off in Seattle. And I think I'm getting a little bit too much city life at the moment. So I kind of need to focus on getting out into the countryside a little more. So this probably wasn't exactly the best trip for me to take, but I did want to stop and see friends this weekend. And so, it was a nice little trip, and definitely getting out of the van and getting a little bit of hiking in was great for me. But, as far as Portland for van dwellers, boy, I don't think that there's a better city as far as I'm concerned, except for maybe San Diego. But I think probably a lot of you know how I feel about San Diego, at least from a van dweller's point of view. So anyway, nice time, and if you haven't been to Portland, definitely put it on your list, because boy, there's a lot to see and do there.